Hello and welcome to Defense India podcast. And before we start this video, please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Defense India podcast, the podcast where we discuss matters related to India's internal security. And as always, on the podcast, joining me is Vicky Najjappa. Vicky, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Akash.
So, Vicky, as always, I think our viewers actually love to know what is happening in Manipur. So, lot of development is happening in the Northeastern state. So as far as very latest is concerned, I think one grenade was found near Raj Bhavan where the governor lives. So that is quite alarming as far as the security concern is there.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, that's true, Akash. I mean, that was quite a brazen, attempt to, blow up something. I mean, the target was the educational institution, that's no doubt. But the issue is that what exactly happened is so close to Raj Bhavan and also to the chief minister's residence. So, if you see that, the situation is, kind of chaotic there. And, as we have discussed in the past, is that, these militants are getting really desperate, now thereafter, targeting establishments, it's no longer just a protest and it's just gone, kind of out of hand at the end of it. And this is a very disturbing trend, and in the past also, these high flying ammunition and, the kind of, grenades and rockets and things like that they have managed to source. So currently, if I look at the situation, is that it's gone beyond the realm of a protest, and it looks like there is a force which is ready to go for war against the state. So it is that precarious, the situation, Akash.
Right, Vicky, and of course, with these kind of hand grenades being found near educational establishment. Although there was then a protest that took place in that college, the GP Women's College in Manipur, ensuring the security of the students who are there and also the staff who is working over there. So, of course, that is a legitimate issue over there as far as the security of the people who are working there, who are who are just there to study and not do all these kind of antisocial things. Then it becomes a problem for everybody else. And of course, apart from that, there are now smaller groups that are getting much more active as far as the situation in Manipur is concerned. 8 of the UNLFP members were arrested by the police because they were basically stopping some development work that was taking place in the state. So these kind of things. So what kind of message are they trying to portray to the people? Because if you stop the development programs over there with the government is running for, not for the betterment of the people, then isn't there doesn't it show that they're very desperate, and the kind of work that they were thinking that they were doing, that is not working for them at all right now?
See, once what happens is, the thing is, since the Narendra Modi government has come to power, there's been, plenty of focus on the Northeast, okay, because it was always considered to be a region that was, largely ignored, and, the people were very, I mean, there was no connect between, that side and, the rest of the country. So, while bridging the gap and restoration of peace, so many peace talks in different parts of in different parts of Northeast, like the Naga peace talks, and then the developments that we see in Assam, with the with all that citizenship issues and NRC and things like that. So, there's been an attempt since day one to get some kind of a semblance in the Northeast, and to a large extent, it has succeeded also. And apart from, restoring of peace and all those other things, there's also, been a lot of emphasis on development of Northeast. If you see the kind of projects that have been announced out there, the highways being built, the connectivity, all that improving. And this also leads to a lot of job creation in Northeast, so that people are busy doing their jobs rather than protesting and fighting and getting into violence. So a lot had changed, and then until Manipur happened. Now what has happened is the way the protests are going and the way the violence is escalating. It's very very clear that this is not some kind of a a quota debate or something as simple as that. This is a clear cut attempt which is being made actually there to disrupt peace in Manipur, ensure that people are scared to invest there, ensure that development work is stalled, and the larger goal being that it would eventually spill out of Manipur and spread to the rest of the northeastern states, so that trying to undo everything that has been done in the past 10 to 11 years, and bring it back to a situation of how it was before a decade or so. So it's a very sustained pattern and a very sustained effort being made by a lot of these elements to ensure that Northeast goes back to the dark ages again.
Absolutely, Vicky. Very true. So, but as in a previous podcast, also we discussed about that. The cookies demanded for a cookie land, and this is not a new thing that they have demanded. It has been there for quite some time. And as we discussed that, it is not going to be part of Manipur. Then it is going to be part from other northeastern state that they are looking to carve out this so-called cookie land is. But still, the kind of situation there is in hand, as we see, there have been peaceful protests, by a lot of different groups who want peace to return to Manipur. But when it comes to talks, so we haven't heard that much of peace talks happening on a state level, although the state government and the central government, they both are trying to get all the players on the table, be it the Nagas, be it the Cookies, be it the Metes. They're trying to get everybody on table, but somehow it feels that the Cookie organizations or some of the elements in the Cookie organization don't want any kind of peace to prevail. Does it show that that peace might not the dialogue might not work, and it might come down to some military action taking place to curb this thing, and for the peace to return to Manipur?
Yeah, that's right. Speaking about talks, recently the center had, or rather the Union Home Ministry had, there were a round of talks which were held, with the leaders of both the communities. So while those talks were going well, on the other hand, you find these kind of incidents, where the grenade is found. So basically, it looks like it has gone out of the hand of the cookie representatives also out there, Akash, because they, I would say that everybody who went for those talks went with a very open mind, and while there was this solution just there in sight, and issue is what is happening is the talks are basically focusing on the localized demands what either the Métis or the Cookies want, but the problem is there is a good force which goes beyond them, which is trying to indulge in a larger agenda where these localized issues like reservation or separate land and all is not mattering to them, and the primary objective is only to disrupt peace, stall development, create fear in the minds of the people, try to push the Métis to the corner, and of course make sure that it spreads, like earlier said, that spreads to the rest of the Northeast. So talks are going on very localized issues, but the action which is taking place from the other side, that's it. It's not correlating at all, because they are coming with the larger agenda and the talks are happening with the localized agenda out there. And about the Indian Army and the security forces, now if you see, there have been a lot of arrests and the kind of seizures that have happened. I mean, it's like it's kind of mind-boggling. But now there's started this real solid crackdown on people coming in and the guys getting these elements who are associated with these terror groups and all that getting arrested. So now you see more and more of such action on the ground. Talks will continue on one side, but then there is going to be a lot of action on the other to weed out these rotten elements who come here to disrupt peace.
Exactly, Vicky. And of course, in time, we have seen that, the kind of elements that have been. We talked about this thing. It's not so sure yet, but they said that 900. It was a CM who said this thing, Biren Singh, that around 900 Kuki militants have infiltrated into Manipur, and then after that, there was a huge, uh, question on the security apparatus, especially at the border. But the kind, and in recent times, the kind of weaponry that has been used by these cookie militants, it again raises a lot of question in terms of. The border security, the kind of infiltration that is happening in the northeast, especially in Manipur and Nagaland and the neighboring areas. So, and of course, the latest arrest that has come, where they have caught these eight UNLFP members. So they had AK-47s, they had MK16 rifles, and all. These are not primitive kind of weaponry. They are kind of a modern weaponry if we talk about AK-47 and MK16. So first of all, the question then arises that where are they getting the money to buy these things? Secondly, who is delivering them these things? And thirdly, what is the security then doing? One question can be answered saying, okay, it is the drug money that they're using. But then the question arises, how are they selling these drugs if the situation in Manipur is like that, and police and army are always vigilant?
Yeah, right. You see, the thing is, even with security forces, yeah, I would say that there has been, some kind of a let up that has happened, which is, given these people the scope to, come and, smuggle in arms, ammunition, as well as, narcotics inside there. But then also, in terms of the security apparatus, also the way it works is like, there are hits and misses. Like if you see in Jammu and Kashmir also, the security mechanism is doing a fantastic job actually. But then there are misses there also, Akash. You see, there are attacks here and there,
Right.
and infiltrations happen. Narcotics get smuggled in. Like the famous line which always says that the police have to get it right all the time, and the terrorist has to get it right only once. Okay,
Right.
so these kind of slip ups do happen, and they have taken advantage. But I think now, I think there is this realization that in fact, on a recent television debate, I also said that now it is time for the intelligence bureau to also up its game in Manipur and coordinate with the central and the state forces need to be absolutely on the same page, coordinate, and then solve this problem, because the best intelligence is always with the local police, never with the central agencies. They can only
Right.
gather from external sources and all that. Like if I give the example of Jammu Kashmir, if you notice in those days, when this or this so-called teacher's son Buran Wani was flying around a little too high and things like that. And then did you see how they wiped out the entire Hizbul this one
Right.
terror network in this one? Because today, if you see that Hizbul Mujahideen is basically a nothing in Jammu Kashmir.
Correct.
One thing.
Correct.
Okay. So, and that happened only because of one thing, is that the central and the state forces worked together, and they were on the same page, because a Jammu Kashmir local policeman will know what is happening in each one's house, a
Correct.
constable. That I wouldn't expect an officer from the research analysis wing or the intelligence bureau to know that.
Absolutely.
What they can do is, how they coordinate is, this local police will pick up this localized intelligence, and then they will share it, and then it is analyzed, and then the threat from outside is also analyzed, and then it is passed on to the security forces, and that is when it becomes actionable intelligence, and that is how they manage to wipe out the same thing. We need to see a similar coordination in Manipur, and for some time I felt that central agencies and the localized police, they were not exactly on the same page
Yeah, Vicky,
at all.
because to be very honest, there were few videos. I'm not so sure that they came out very or they became very viral. Those kind of videos did come out where there were. It showed a lot of friction between the local police and the central forces. So that then it creates a lot of question that why is there this kind of friction? And as you said that it's it the intelligence is with the local network rather than the central network, and then they have to sit down on the table and discuss all these kind of things. But as we have seen in the past also, especially in the case of 2611 2, that there were intelligence inputs from the center, but the state did not pay any heed to it, and that led to the terrorist attack in Mumbai. And the kind of and time and again we have seen that there has been a lot of friction between the central agencies and the state police when it comes to intelligence sharing. So that leads to a lot of catastrophic results. But hopefully, as you said, that they should there should be a unison between the two sides for peace to prevail, and hopefully the work will be done. Every podcast we hope that something fruitful happens, and we're still waiting for something fruitful to happen, and so are the people of Manipur. Well, on that note, thank you very much, Vicky, for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you, Akash. Thank you so much.